and welcome to our second installment of Happy Hour with your mermaid mixologist, Hollywood. Now, if this is your first time joining, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos. Every Thursday at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be posting a brand new video that shows you how to make a mermaid mocktail and a mermaid cocktail. Now, what's a mocktail? A mocktail is a drink that has 0 alcohol. So our mocktails are for our little guppies at home and for those that aren't legally of drinking age. Now, I do have to say this, if you are going to be enjoying our alcoholic beverages, make sure that you are legally of age and that you drink responsibly. And without further ado, what's today's cocktail? Today we're making Frozen Mermaid Margaritas. Why Mermaid Margaritas? Because I noticed that next week Tuesday is Cinco de Mayo, so I figured I'd give you guys a really fun mermaid version of a margarita. So let's go ahead and start with what we need. For our garnishes, we are first going to need pineapple. We are going to need lime or multiple limes, again, depending on how many drinks you're making. We're gonna need oranges, and we are also gonna need cherries. All right, so let's go over the ingredients that we need in order to make our mermaid margarita and our mermaid margarita mocktail. We're gonna need a blender, because like I said, this is a frozen margarita. We are going to need lots and lots of ice. We are going to need margarita glasses. In order to rim our glasses, we are going to do a mix of salt and sugar in this cocktail. So what I did was I used sugar in the raw and I used coarse salt in order to get like that rocky look. And basically I mixed equal parts of sugar in the raw and salt before I started filming. Now, for both the mocktail and the cocktail, we are going to need agave and we are going to need lime juice. For the cocktail version, we're going to need tequila. Any sort of agave tequila is gonna work. I have El Jimador, which is super awesome. It's very smooth. It's a silver tequila, which I prefer to make my margaritas with. We also need blue carousel, which is our mermaid magic ingredient. Yes, if you watched the mermaid meal video, you would know that. I'm gonna link it right up here so that you can see it after this if you're interested. And then of course, we need triple sec. And these are all the ingredients that we need for the cocktail. For our frozen mermaid margarita mocktail, we are going to use the lime juice and the agave, like I said. We are going to use our guppy-friendly blue carousel, which is simple syrup, and blue food coloring. And instead of triple sec, we are going to use half of a squeezed orange. And of course, in order to measure out our ingredients, we're gonna use a jigger. And before we get started, make sure that you have some sort of eco-friendly straws. That's right, make sure that you have paper straws, a stainless steel straw, or some sort of reusable straw. Ditch the single-use plastic, you guys. First, we're gonna start off with our mermaid margarita cocktail. That's right, we're going to use tequila. Now, before we start making our cocktail, what I always like to do is I like to prep my glassware first, which in this case, we are going to rim our glasses with the salt and sugar that we mixed, or excuse me, that I mixed before I started filming. So, if you have a small round plate like this at home, you can go ahead and mix your salt and sugar equal parts onto the plate. This is a really good trick to have if you don't have one of those little sombreros or one of those the 3 caddies that they have at the bar. This is what I use at home. And honestly, I also use a side plate with my salt and my sugar at the bar sometimes, because if you work in a bar, you know that those caddies, ugh. I'm gonna take my glassware and I'm going to rim the edge of the glass with my lime so that the lime juice will make the salt and the sugar stick. So, that's it. You just go, you take the glass and you dip it upside down into the salt and sugar mix. And there we go, our glass is rimmed. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other glass ready because we're gonna rim our glasses for the mocktail as well. Same thing, I'm gonna dip it in there. You can always just kind of do it like where you push it to one side if the swirling action is not getting it equally coated, which you see this one, I did a better job. I'm gonna go ahead and just redo this a little bit. Get some more juice. So like, if you're at home and you're like, oh, I didn't like the way that looks, and you have all the time in the world, by all means, make that drink look good, boo-boo. Now that our glasses are properly rimmed, we can go ahead and start making our Mermaid Margarita cocktail. That's right, you guys. The first one is going to have tequila in it. But when building your cocktail, you don't actually want to use the tequila first. You want to use your non-liquor ingredients. And then when you run out of non-liquor ingredients, you want to go ahead and add in things like your cordials or like your triple sec and your blue carousel. And then you want to add in your tequila. Now, you build your cocktail that way because let's say you are working in the bar, right? You get a drink ticket and you're making it and you realize, oh no, I've started to make the wrong thing. Or maybe your customer changes their mind in the middle of you mixing it. Hopefully, you realize that you've made a mistake or the customer stops you before you get to the tequila. Because chances are you're gonna have to dump that drink and start over. Starting over isn't as bad or expensive if it's just things like lime juice and triple sec. It doesn't cost you or the house a lot. So that is why we always start with our non-liquor ingredients first. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my blender, which in this case, I do not have a typical blender, but this still works. We are going to build our cocktail and our mocktail right into the glass or the pitcher that actually goes to the blender. All right, the recipe calls for a cup of ice. I'm gonna start off and I'm going to put the ice straight into the blender. Again, you don't want to use actual glass into your ice. You want to use a plastic cup, or ideally you want to use a metal scooper or metal shaker tin because metal is actually more sanitary than plastic. But in this case, I still chose to use my plastic cup because this is actually a cup and I wanted to make sure I had a solid cup of ice. The first ingredient that we're going to use is lime juice. Now, the recipe for the Mermaid Margarita calls for 2 ounces of lime juice. We're going to take our jigger. In this case, my jigger has 1.5 ounces on the big side, which is about your standard shot. And then the other side, it has 3/4 of an ounce. If you don't have a jigger, you can always use a shot glass or you can try and eyeball this. Now, in order to have 2 ounces, I'm gonna go ahead and use the big side. You guys can see me, making sure. All right. We are going to pour that lime juice to the 1.5 ounce side all the way to the rim and pour it in. Now I need another 1/2 ounce to make it 2 ounces, so I'm going to use about another 1/3 of the jigger. There we go, lime juice. Now we need 1 ounce of triple sec. If you want to be super fancy, you can use Contra instead of triple stack, which I don't have Contra, but if I had it, I would definitely use it. All right, so we need 1 ounce of triple stack. I'm gonna go ahead and use the 3/4 ounce side. And then we're gonna do another little baby 1/4 ounce. There we go. We need 1 ounce of the blue carousel, which is our magic mermaid ingredient. Yes, it is. The reason that I call it that is because you'll notice as we continue to do these videos that the blue carousel is basically a staple in the mermaid cocktails. All right, we need 1 ounce, so we're gonna do 3/4 of an ounce. And then I'm gonna do another little ounce, or excuse me, another little 1/4. There we go. Now, we need 1 ounce, or excuse me, 1/2 ounce of agave, which pouring agave into your jigger, it tends to be very problematic. You can do that, or you could just kind of squeeze some in there. Which, look how pretty that looks, you guys. Looks all oceany. I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze a little bit in there. There we go. I like my agave. And now, tequila. We are going to use 3 ounces of tequila. Ounce and a half. Ounce and a half. And now we are ready. Cute. Okay, make sure you have your lid on tight. Make sure that little plastic thing is on the top. And you can pour it in there. Now, in order to garnish, we're going to go ahead and use one of our little orange wedges. We're going to use a pineapple wedge. There we go. And a cherry, which sunk to the bottom, but that's okay. Gonna take one of our paper straws, put it into our margarita. And there you have it, our Frozen Mermaid Margarita. Just in time for Cinco de Mayo. All right, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and clean up a little bit. We're going to clean out our jigger. We're going to use a fresh cup so that we can get started on those Mermaid Margarita mocktails. Welcome back. We're gonna go ahead and get started on the Mermaid Margarita mocktail. All right, I have my blender. I have my blender cup. I have my pre-rimmed glass. We're gonna put that right up here. Put this right here so you could see. I have my freshly cleaned jigger and my clean blades. All right, first we're gonna go ahead and start off with that cup of ice. Go ahead and pour that in there. All right, we are going to start with 2 ounces of lime juice again, so we're gonna use the big side. I'm gonna do 1.5 ounces. And another little 1/2 ounce. 2 ounces of lime juice. We have our lime juice. And remember how I said we were going to use half of the orange for our mocktail? We're going to go ahead and squeeze that half of orange in here, which I'm using the whole half of the orange to count as my triple sec, and to also count for part of the liquid that the tequila takes up, because like I said, this is a mocktail, so we want to make it non-alcoholic. You can use actual orange juice, it's just that I like to squeeze the oranges because I feel like it's fresher. And this way too, the synthetic orange color of the orange juice won't really affect me trying to make this drink blue. All right, now we're going to go ahead and add 1.5 ounces of our simple syrup. So if you remember, that's our big side. And simple syrup is basically equal parts sugar and water boiled on the stove. And then we're gonna go ahead and do 2 drops of food coloring, of the blue food coloring, excuse me. And we're gonna do that little bit of a squeeze of agave. Like I said, the recipe calls for 1/2 ounce. I'm just gonna pour a little bit in there. There we go. All right, now we're ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and put my lid on. We see that it's already starting to turn mermaid blue. And now we're ready. So our mocktail actually came out better frozen than our original frozen margarita. So as you see, I took the straw to kind of scoop it out. You can use a spoon, you can use a straw, you can use a fork, just basically whatever you have handy. I'm gonna put that straw in there. We're gonna go ahead and garnish our glass now. We're gonna use our pineapple. I'm gonna find the slit. There we go. Put some orange slices on it. I'm gonna put 2 orange slices, so that way we know it's the mocktail, which, I mean, they clearly look different, but just in case. And our cherry on top. There we go, you guys. We have our Mermaid Margarita mocktail. Guppy friendly as well as friendly to those who don't drink. And we have our Mermaid Margarita cocktail. I hope you guys liked this episode of Happy Hour with your mermaid mixologist, Hollywood. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Until next time. Cheers! Thanks for hanging out this week. If you really enjoy making cocktails with me, Mermaid Hollywood, and you want to send a tip or a donation for your appreciation, you can go ahead and send them via PayPal or CashApp to Mermaid Hollywood. I'll have all the information down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and tune in next week for our 5 o'clock happy hour. Till next time, mermaid kisses.